Evening and good afternoon to you all, because at least two jurisdictions are who can very well say good afternoon from Norway, Professor Kiran, and greetings from, I will say, from the University of Pretoria, where from currently I'm connecting with you all. And uh, a very happy Foundation Day of Dr. Rajendra Prasad National Law University on this special day on behalf of my students, my faculty, and the whole family and myself. I wish our university a very, very bright future. And the students here, whom we can see here in full strength, full strength, though not all we can see, they have been involved in various, let me tell to my panelists that the students from right from very morning have been involved in various competitions, and those competitions were on various themes of law, maybe social legal, techno legal, etc. They had been given the competitions on slogan writing, poster making. Like the topic for poster making was our new Lady Justice. And likewise, the slogan, in slogan, I think we have given them some topic on cyber itself. And similarly, there happens to be the competitions on poem writing, and our students are good in the performance of Nukkad Natak also. So all these things have been going on. And again, to the panel, let me tell that yesterday only the end term examination of the students have been completed, and today they were all ready to go to their homes because our university is a residential university. But we're requesting them to stay one day more here for the celebrations of this Foundation Day of our university. And looking to that thing that they were busy till yesterday evening with their examination, we started these competitions a bit late from 11 in the morning. And now we are concluding the celebrations with the holding of this international conclave, the topic of which is known to all of us, which is on artificial intelligence and legal education. Uh, Friends, yesterday midnight I landed here at the airport of Johannesburg. And inside the airport, I found some slogans written on the walls of the airport to promote the digital business. And one of the slogans really fascinated me, which I want to share with you. And that slogan is very simple and very short. And it is like this: intelligence, it was intelligence. Why? Because they were not writing everywhere artificial intelligence. It was written, intelligence is to live, not to learn. So I think this is quite apt because we find that consciously or unconsciously, day or night, we have been using the artificial intelligence, and it has really become a very indispensable part of our lives. I mean, you take anything, whether it is a navigation, Google Map comes in, it has transportation, Uber, Ola. If we go to dentist, if we go to for our specs for the optician, everywhere this artificial intelligence has been used. So emphasizing more on the practical application of it, I think perhaps whosoever has coined it must have put it like that. And naturally, learning is also an essential aspect of it. But I think perhaps those who know more technically AI will agree that the ultimate goal of the AI happens to be how the human lives can be enhanced. Now, coming to the legal education. Now, artificial intelligence has revolutionized the legal profession by, increasing accessibility is enhanced, and then efficiency is also increased, and accuracy as well, accuracy of data and some other prepositions as well. And judge, professor, or the law firms. They have to have meet the demands of what we can say rapidly advancing the digital world. And if that is so, if that is true about the legal profession, you, the students who are there in the law schools, are having the legal education, and we find that the role of the legal education has to be to prepare the students to meet this growing demand of the digital world in the legal profession. Now, as far as students are concerned, in the legal education, you must have been the user already users of AI in the legal education. You are preparing for the various moot courts for your projects. Otherwise, other kind of research also. You must have been using the AI for your research work, or if better, analysis of the case law statutes. Also, if you have prepared a draft, maybe that for the grammar check, Grammarly, or any other, whatever the AI empowered tools are there, you have been using this. Now, to discuss these issues more in depth, we are having the distinguished panel of experts with us. So let me introduce briefly our experts of the day. We are having Professor Uday Shankar with us, uh, who is from IIT Kharagpur. And there is one IP school, Intellectual Property School, Rajiv Gandhi School of Intellectual Property Law. So in IIT Kharagpur, he happens to be in that school. And Professor Uday has been teaching and researching in law for the last more than 2 decades. And currently, he is a visiting fellow at the University of Macerata in Italy. Professor Uday has also served as guest professor under Magdalene School Fellowship, which was awarded by the Faculty of Law, University of Hamburg, and is also the recipient of the prestigious fellowship from the Max Planck Institute of Comparative Public Law and International Law, Heidelberg. Now, Professor Uday is a member of Scientific Committee of the Global Pandemic Network and has contributed as a member in this mission. And he has more than 60 writing. That's quite impressive and encouraging for me also, which are published in journals and the books. And he has books authored as well as edited, and continuously he is contributing to the growth of the legal education and the profession, and is contributing towards NPTEL, which is a project on technology enhanced learning, as well as GYAN, which is Global Academic of Academic Networks. And along with other areas of law, access to justice and technology is also one of his favorite areas. And we welcome you, Professor Uday Shankar. We
Thank
have
you,
with
madam.
us,
Thank you.
Professor Atul Pandey. Professor Atul Pandey is from NLIU Bhopal, and he is the chairperson of Cyber Law Center at NLIU Bhopal. It is known as Rajiv Gandhi National Cyber Law Center. And Professor Atul uh, is the founding head of the Department of Cyber Law and Information Security at NLIU Bhopal, and he has been awarded fellowship by the Diplo Foundation, Switzerland. He was also invited to visit United States of America under the prestigious International Visitor Leadership Program on linking digital policy to cybercrime law enforcement by the US Department of State, Washington, D.C. And I had visited NLIU Bhopal, and therefore I can say that there he has really revolutionized, I will say, the university by adding this course of which he is a chairperson. And it is perhaps the only NLU which is having this kind of a program which specializes the scholars in this particular field. And he is the principal investigator for the project online capacity building program on cyber law, cyber crime, investigation, and digital forensics. I think day and night, Professor Atul perhaps lives in the digital age and grappling with various issues. We are having another distinguished speaker with us, Professor Kiran B. Raja. He is connecting with us from the Norwegian University of Science and Technology, Norway, here in the Department of Computer Science and Technology. He works. I didn't get, maybe that you have recently sent, we have requested Professor Raja to provide us a short profile, which perhaps has it come to me? Yes, it has come to me. So I'm privileged to say something on for Professor Raja. Also, Professor Raja is a faculty member, as I said, at Norwegian University, and he has participated in EU-funded projects such as these are certain technical names, and nationally funded projects on biometric security and machine learning. So he's known for machine learning, as you were introduced to me by Professor Atul. And with his participation in various projects at the Norwegian Biometrics Lab, he works on different problems in morphing attacks, okay, from both generations and detection perspectives in addition. In addition, his research interest also lies in detecting manipulations like deep fakes and adversarial attacks. He is a member of European Association of Biometrics and chairs the Academic Special Interest Group at EAB. And he's also associated on various other prestigious institutions and contributing towards the machine learning. We welcome you, Professor Raja, to this conclave. And now taking it forward. Uh, the way we have designed this particular conclave is that first of all we'll be having an introductory round. All our three these experts will be having 1 to 2 minutes, whatever they want to say, to introduce the topic on artificial intelligence and the legal education. Whatever they want to say as the opening remarks, they may say so. So we may start with Professor Uday.
Okay, thank you, madam. Let me right at the outset congratulate Rajendra Prasad, National Law University, Prayagraj, for completing 1 year, and I'm very sure the way it has taken off is very soon going to be one of the reckoning law school in India and going to make a mark at the international map as well. And indeed, a matter of great privilege and honor for me to participate on this very auspicious or very kind of important day. And an icing on the cake is that Madam has thought of inviting me, and a great pleasure of also acknowledging that I'm a humble student of Madam, and learning whatever has got is Madam has contributed a lot. Uh, Thanks to also Professor Atul for having me in this conclave, and looking forward to learn from Professor Kiran. The topic for the conclave is really very progressive, I would say. The reason being, generally we read and learn about the role of AI in justice education or justice system. But then when I was talking to Madam said, no, let us try to focus on legal education, not justice thing, because enough has been talked about in justice and how a law school can really accommodate and really assimilate the idea of using technology for betterment of the learning environment. When I think about this topic and with my own experience, I believe that AI has a transformational, impact. It is something like I generally equate. Uh, Acclaimed with AI and accepted education, I believe that it has a great role to now. When I say inclusive education, I would like to address concerns of differential kind of ecosystem, the kind of bringing up, they find the ambience challenging. And the second, the students who are in special need. Obviously, those students who are in special need, AI can be a complete game changer. But then, to students in general, I that in legal education, that is something which is me a very critical kind of thing to take off. So first we need to understand that what kind of composition you're going to deal with, what kind of characteristics of the class, and accordingly we build a strategy in order to ensure that even the last person in the queue is getting benefited from the session. AI can play a very significant role, because it is well known that students are having varied learning styles and personalities. They are becoming part of that composition, and it's not that everyone in the class is as confident or it is in a ready to learn. There are students who require a kind of special attention, maybe because of cultural issues, maybe because of backgrounds, maybe because of disabilities. So all these factors are there where I believe that integration of AI technologies can really change the things. It holds a promise for creating adaptive and personalized learning environments. Now, how it can
Yeah.
be done?
Yeah, yeah, thank you very much. I think in the opening the round
Okay.
for emphasizing on the inclusive education for the law students in the law school, and definitely will listen it more when I will be having on the second round. But good that you have thrown this particular, you flagged this issue of the inclusive education herein. So, in the introductory round, can we move to Professor Atul now? What you would like to say as the opening remarks on this area?
Yeah, thank you, madam. At the outset, I would like to join my previous speaker, Professor Uday, in congratulating our PNLU uh, for completing 1 year and establishing new standards of legal education in such a short span of time. And I would also like to thank Professor Kiran for accepting our invitation and joining this event at a very short notice. And my colleague, Mr. Amitesh Rajput, is Dr. Amitesh Rajput is also here. I also requested him to join the session.
Okay.
Now, in the interest of time, without going into the formalities, certain issues relating to the uh, title of the webinar. So when we are looking at AI, artificial intelligence, so we started using internet from 15th of August 1995. And at that point of time, nobody thought that in such a short span of time, we would have a technology like artificial intelligence, which would revolutionize all walks of life. So artificial intelligence is being used since long. However, uh, when it comes to education in general and legal education in particular, it is a new phenomena, relatively new phenomena, particularly after Chat GPT. As Madam has pointed out that the students would rely on Grammarly and certain other applications for grammar check, spell check, and even for research. But after Chat GPT, things have changed. Now, first question that arises, should we appreciate this technology or should we discourage it? There are many universities and there are many scholars who opines that we should not use chat gpt, we should not use these ai tools for content creation, for graphic creation, for uh, uh, any other academic activity. I have a different opinion on that. We should, if we do not use these tools, why do we use technology? We use technology to save the time, to make human life easy. So when we use these technologies, if we understand it, we can use it wisely and make something, create something which is meaningful. So in legal research, if somebody using Westlaw, somebody using searching any database, or if somebody has to read say a book, nowadays so much information is there. With the help of these ai tools, we can process it, and we can have meaningful information out of it. And this is not one single technology that is being used. So ai is being used in combination with big data, with cloud, and with the iot and certain other technologies. So in that context, I think this particular technology has assumed greater significance. Now, if
Yes,
I
I
take,
think for the opening remarks, you have very well referred to this debate which is still going on in the academia on this. Should we accept it in the legal education, or we should not accept it? And you have just expressed your views also. We look forward to, I mean, listen you in detail in the second round, Professor Atul. Uh,
sure.
and can we move forward to Professor Kiran? And because who may, I mean, give certain opening remarks more from the point of view of the hardcore technology. You are the maker of the machine learnings.
Thank you so much, Professor Usha. First of all, I should again congratulate you, like the previous two speakers. And most importantly, I would also like to thank Dr. Amitesh Rajput, who asked me to be part of the panel. And I got a bit excited to learn what is happening in the legal field. I said yes. And now I'm looking at I do not know how much well versed you are all with machine learning. But if you look at the time scale of machine learning, right, or what we call as artificial intelligence these days, we can divide it into broadly into four generations up to now. So the very first generation is what we are talking about. AI is the artificial neural networks that was introduced in 80s, and nothing happened for a very long time, almost up to 2010, when suddenly there was a renaissance of artificial intelligence. And this happened with the enabling of multiple computation power, like GPUs came into picture. Suddenly the theories that were developed in 80s and 70s became uh, tangible, and people started using it. And from then on, what we see is very rapid development in terms of technology. So if you look at the third generation, it took very short time, from 2010 to 2014, when generative AI started being used in the academic fields. And now from 2014 on, we have moved towards what you can call it as generation 3.5 or generation 4. This is the large language models. I think this is somehow the central topic of the discussion today, where we are talking about the chat GPT and alike, the generative pre-trained networks. And then when I was looking into the panel title, I looked at three different aspects. One is enhancing efficiency, accessibility, and accuracy. Now, if you break down all the three aspects into each topic, enhancing efficiency, we are there. ChatGPT is there. We know how to train networks. We know how to adapt to a particular domain, be it legal, be it medical, be it security. We have that knowledge now. Accuracy, I think we can all agree on to the fact that the machines are performing to a significant level, at least in many of the what we call as preliminary tasks or not so specialist tasks. This we all agree. So efficiency is there, accuracy is there. Accessibility, I have my doubts. I don't think the technology is accessible. When I say accessibility, are we taking into account all the population that we are? Are we taking into the minority groups that are there? Are we taking into account the elderly people that are out there?
Yes,
I think
it's very interesting and important. I mean, the way you have mentioned about the generations of learning 3.5 and 4, and now coming to the particular points. I think now let us in the second round start with you only. and uninterruptedly we will listen you for 10 to 15 minutes. We will not interrupt at all. So now the floor is of yours, and then in the second round we'll come to others. So whatever they want to say, yeah, you can elaborate on whatever
Thank
points
you,
you want.
thank you. I think I should also tell that I'm not from a legal background, so if I'm saying anything, you should not sue me. That's a disclaimer, right? Going back to the ChatGPT, right? We had a similar problem 2 years ago when pandemic happened. We suddenly had to move to all digital examinations. And this meant that now the students, there is a trust factor, right? We trust our students. We hope that they learn and then they're actually producing the knowledge that we need. Occasionally, it might lead to some circumstances where one or two students are not very fully prepared and they might take use of such tools. Let's say even for simplistic reasons, Grammarly, just for correcting the English. We're all not native speakers of English. We would want to some kind of tools to help us, right? And then if you translate it to a bit further, it becomes a bit more advanced. You could use it for generating ideas. You could use for correcting your ideas. And then this was inevitable. During the pandemic, we had to resort to homeschool exams, home exams, or if you want to say it that way. And then we had no control of what the student is actually doing, more in terms of is the student actually learning, right? Maybe in a field like programming, it might not be so critical. I could still graduate a programming a software engineer, and then you could write a bad code, and somebody will be able to take a look at that. But I think in legal field, it becomes much more critical because we are talking about the system which brings justice. We are talking about the system where we want to make sure that people are given equal opportunities, right? Now the reason I'm taking out this topic is that in 2020, when the pandemic hit, we went to the home exams, and then at very similar time there was the advent of ChatGPT. So it became popular. It released the free versions, and people started using it. Now there was no way to control this, right? You cannot literally control every single of 200 students who are taking the course. What we did is we kind of led them to use the ChatGPT. So we said, you are free to use the ChatGPT as long as you're acknowledging that, what you used it for, how you used it, pointing to specific examples. And later on, we conducted one more analysis, looking at how students actually use ChatGPT. And the idea there was not stopping them from using the ChatGPT. In fact, they're taking the help of ChatGPT to generate very wonderful code, write very well-designed, well-structured software programs. But what we wanted to look was how critical are they in analyzing these solutions. Any model that is trained on data will provide you some solution. And now, at the end of the day, as a software programmer, as a software engineer, you would want to take a look at this. Is this solution good enough? If I'm able to put this solution into a machine which takes MRI of my mother, will I trust the system, right? And the critical thinking part is very important. I think that's one thing that we should think about in the future, not about stopping it from being used by students, but more on reflecting on the solutions provided that. And this is also very interesting for the legal aspects. At least I personally know a couple of my colleagues who started up a company which is for providing legal solutions based on this generative pre-trained networks. And the idea here is that you are training a network, you are training a model, which takes massive amount of legal data that's available to that as training data, and then adapts to the domain. And now all it does is that based on the text it has understood, based on the text it has learned through many iterations, it will propose you some solutions, it will propose you some actions. But as a human, am I capable of analyzing the solutions from this ChatGPT? I think that's what we should be concerned about. And again, coming back to the accuracy part, any model that is working reasonably well, it will improve in terms of accuracy. So we have seen over the last couple of, actually in the last decade, all the most complex challenges that you can come in this domain has been solved. This has been solved by efforts from multiple groups, multiple researchers who have been contributing significantly. And then now the question of accessibility still remains open, right? So how do we make sure that we are including everyone? I don't know if this is the right forum to start this discussion, but in machine learning community, there has been a very big discussion about bias. So what I mean by bias is that are we treating all groups of people equally? Now, if in the legal education, if you're using a generative pre-trained network, and let's assume that the data it is based on it's, let's take a hypothetical case of US, right? In US, we have this major crime rate from dark skinned people. And if you're training a model, it's most likely to read and understand all the legal documents from this background. Now, how would it translate to the other population, the white, let's say the fair-skinned people, right? So that's the fundamental question of accessibility. Are we making the systems more fairer, demographically balanced, without jeopardizing the interest of any particular group or even the marginalized group? That's something that we should question.
Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Raja, for expressing your views that we should not ban the use of Chat GPT by the students, but rather we have to see how critical they are in analyzing the solutions. And I remember when we were having that international workshop, then we had students were not there, but my colleagues were there in that workshop. Professor Robert from University of Vancouver has also touched upon these things, the use of ChatGPT by the students, and he shared with us that how his university has made certain regulations, how, I mean, to what extent and how the students can use it or not. And this is here the significance of the law, that how to regulate it, not prohibit it, but to regulate it. And another point which you have raised on the accessibility is very right. We do have so many discussions on the digital divide, and not only of rich and poor, not only of the people in the city and the villages, but also, you know, between the genders. Why? Because I had done certain studies how in the during the pandemic time, the women were less privileged to have access to the technology than the men, and that only for the point of view of their education, for attending the classes and all these things. So this is a very, very critical issue of the digital divide which you have raised. Thank you very much. And now let us move to Professor Uday Shankar, and who had flagged the issue of um, inclusivity, and so just enlighten us on how this AI can improve skill learning by the law students, and how can we really tackle the issue of inclusivity, again, which takes us very close to the accessibility also. Yes, over to you,
Yeah,
Professor.
yes, madam. So this is what I was telling, that it can be really a great game changer for inclusive education, as well as it can also be a game changer for upscaling the skill, which is equally important, which I'll also briefly touch upon. So AI can be used for designing flexible courses and also very adaptive learning environment, because we know very well that everyone may not be bestowed with the same kind of learning skill, and thus AI can very well play a significant role in designing the same, helping in building a strategy, so that one can get a bit, AI can be used as an important tool to get a better clarity on subjects. For example, this important instrument can technology can help in assisting the student who comes from that linguistic background, which is not very comfortable with the medium of instruction what takes place in the law school system. So it can really help the student to learn in the language what they understand. It can also help the student in possibly something what they can convert into from handwritten text to speech. So speech recognition technology can help in getting a kind of notes the way they are comfortable with, and it can also help in web-based learning and online classes, because these days we know very well that the learning doesn't take place only in the physical classroom setup. So there also this technology has a great role to play. Adding to this, madam, I'll also briefly touch upon the issue of enhancing the learning skill, and with that you get better skill to be competitive in the legal market. For example, the previous speaker was talking about the significance of ChatGPT and why it should be promoted. I truly believe that yes, instead of discouraging the student from using ChatGPT, we can make the student to learn the skill of using ChatGPT. That how complex legal concept can be translated into a plain language, and with that how you can really make the client, make the your prospective client to understand the nuances or intricacies of law. And with that, what would happen, that the client would be in a position to appreciate that law and legal system, and thus start reposing faith in the system. So to me, this can also be a valuable tool for addressing the show pendency, but I'm not getting into that. But then point is that good skill backed by AI can give you a hands-on training on analyzing law and legal judgment, which is our strength as a law student. When we go for internship, we know very well that the assignment which is generally being given is to undertake the research. If your training on AI is very good, it helps you in identifying the case laws which suits to the file which has been given to you by your senior. So AI can very well transform legal education, and I would like to stress on this that it can really completely, it has a potential of reorienting the legal market, where instead of getting a skill that whether it will take away the job opportunities or employability, I think it is something where our employability is going to enhance if we are moving in the right direction. So this is what I believe is important, intervention which AI can make in legal education, madam.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Professor Uday, for taking forward again the discussion on ChatGPT, along with the other things which you have highlighted on designing flexible courses and web-based learning. Now, okay, majority view, at least in the panel, is that we should encourage or regulate the students to use ChatGPT, but not prohibit them. But then the thing is that when we talk about the legal education for research purpose, for the students and for us also, whenever we write any article or any project work, then if we are using it the way the students have been using, the issues are now really landing up in the courtrooms, because one thing is that for writing purpose, there happens to be plagiarism test as has been prescribed by the UGC in India. So plagiarism is a similarity test. But nowadays, we are also having the tools which tell us how much of your writing is AI generated. Even though UGC doesn't talk about this, it simply talks about the similarity index. Now, I'm reminded of one of the cases from Jindal University, Jindal Law School itself, wherein one student doing LLM there has submitted the project work for the examination purpose, and the university authorities have said that this is AI generated, and perhaps he was failed in that paper. And that student happened to be very techno savvy, and who used to play really with whatever these AI kind of things are there, and he has challenged it in the court of law. The matter is pending in the court. So I think this issue of allowing the students to use Chat GPT is a very challenging for us, the administrator also. Said what should it be, the limit of it and the scope of it. But that's good that at least these things are being deliberated upon. So let's move further to Professor Atul. Professor Atul, who has really done a vast work and still is doing, as I have said, that he is a chairperson of that center, cyber center there, in that the law school where he is, National Law School of Bhopal. And I would like to listen you, Atul, on a few specific things. Uh, can really this artificial intelligence creates its legal system of its own? And then you and Professor Uday are also scholars in IP and this intellectual property law. Can there are also certain issues which are coming up, the cases which are coming up, if not in Indian jurisdiction, in foreign jurisdiction, that we are having our transportation more and more AI generated, and if certain mishap happens, then a question comes of the liability, on whom the liability should be fixed. And another legal issue which is being debated in the jurisprudence happens to be of can these maybe algorithms or maybe the artificial intelligence machines can be given the legal personality to hold them liable for this. So we would like to listen you on all these issues or whatever other issue which you would like to show here in this panel.
Yeah,
Over to you.
thank you, ma'am. So, the first question that is coming to my mind, should we fear or welcome development related to artificial intelligence? Uh, I would like to just narrate one development that took place in UAE, that is Sophia. So Sophia was a lifelike robot which received citizenship in Saudi Arabia in 2017. Now the first question was, who is Sophia? What legal rights may be conferred or have been conferred on to Sophia? If we are talking about legal personhood, if we are talking about legal rights, in what manner those legal rights, would be exploited by a robot like Sophia? Another important question that arose in the context of Sophia: who is Sophia? Who he, she, or it? Because when we are talking about legal system, legal rights, so certain rights have been conferred on the basis of gender, certain rights have been conferred on the basis of legal status. So status of Sophia is not clear, whether should we term it as a he, she, or it. So these are the questions which are arising in the context of AI related development. And another point which is very important, that as you have rightly pointed out, that when we are talking about AI, so what is AI? As it has been explained, I would briefly take you through certain categories of AI which are important to understand, to understand these points which I am going to make. So there are different categories of AI: artificial narrow intelligence, artificial general intelligence, artificial super intelligence. Now, I'm not going into details of these categories. So there is something known as artificial super intelligence. So it is believed that by 2040 or 2050, we shall have those kind of machines which which would have their own consciousness. Because when we talk about natural person, so what makes natural person different from a machine? That is consciousness. Somebody may call it soul, somebody may call it with some other name. So capability to think upon, to decide upon, and they would that that have arisen on account of what will be the future of humankind, particularly in a state of techno-predictive determinism. And when we are using these technologies in various walks of life, one you have already pointed out, which were working perfectly. But nowadays we have I see for me, which could be which on the basis of this data set, I would be able to fetch out the best from the chat capture data and make selection of data of its own in days to come. And in that context, it would be regenerating the data. And that data shall be used for variety of purposes. So for example, AI is writing a book, like Amazon has a plan that it would get the books written by AI and that same will be sold in the market. AI is writing a book brief. I cannot read 50 books in a year. So what I'll do, I will ask the paid version of ChatGPT that read these books for me and prepare a brief. So these things are making human life easy. But there are certain issues which have come up. For example, the use of AI in the legal research. So up to what extent it should be permitted? If I am preparing a brief, I am doing review of contract. So one is that language, that if I am checking language, grammatical errors, formation of sentences, that could be fine. But where chat GPT kind of software or AI tools are writing a contract, drafting contracts for me, reviewing it for me, so human role will be limited. So the question is, can we meet the intelligence of AI systems, AI super intelligence system? So I think that is a challenge that will be there in certain countries. In courtrooms, AI system is being used, humanoids are being used, and they are producing very good result. But in our country, we are using it in a limited sense. So artificial intelligence algorithms which have the ability to learn by example, coupled with natural language processing and natural language generation capabilities, have enabled machines and humans to understand and interact with each other. So a very popular example is like sometimes we type something on Google and we get a message, machine error, because there is some error in the machine, in the program, and we get a message. Nowadays, there are AI intelligent devices which would say that human error. So AI is so intelligent that it is pointing out that it's not our error. The error has not been committed by machine. The error has been committed by the human being. He has committed some technical error or some typing error or something like that. So that kind of technology we are going to witness in the future. And AI powered advances in speech text, which Professor Uday has also mentioned. So this speech text technology have also made real-time transcriptions a reality. I am speaking in English language. Now in the real time, with all accuracy, it may be translated into Hindi, it may be translated into any other language. So I think these are the facilities which are being made available by the AI super intelligent and AI related inventions. Chatbots are powered by these natural language processing capabilities to question clients and provide solutions like lawyers. So sometimes, like if you could visit certain websites, you shall find that there are counselors and they are not human beings. These are robots, and they have been fed with so much data that if I am talking to a robot, I'm talking to a chatbot and I'm getting problems I'm getting answers to my questions, and my problem is being medical problem is being diagnosed, and the same report is being sent to the doctor for further analysis. So this is how data is being collected and being processed, being used. Now certain kind of challenges maybe there in the health sector. We see that these kind of chatbots are being used, and in legal research also, in limited sense certain courts have started using uh, AI for preparing case brief, for analysis, for search purposes. And there are like legal databases that we use in law schools. They are also use they also say that it is AI powered. So if I am trying to have a brief of ratio of a case, so that would be offered by AI, and I don't see anything wrong in this particular practice. But there is something which is known as human touch. Particularly suppose that AI like system would deliver a judgment. So when a judge is dealing with that, human judge is dealing with that matter, so that human element will always be there. He would evaluate the facts and circumstances of a case, which cannot be, I believe, which cannot be done by a AI system as of now. Maybe in days to come that would also be done. And what we say that depending on facts and circumstances of each case, so the judgment changes. So even if we are using predictive technology powered by AI, so sometimes it may not replace the human element, because that is very much required. But counter argument is that the 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 moment we shall have AI super intelligence system, it would be able to decide all these matters in a better way, in comparison to human beings. So next question that is very important about the legal liabilities of the artificial intelligence systems, particularly as a reference was made to intellectual property rights. So very briefly, I would like to take you through a case where, if you could recall, monkey taking selfie. I believe that some of the participants would have definitely read about it. I'm also sharing that picture. I hope it is visible. Uh, if my presentation is visible.
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah. So now if you look at this picture, there was a monkey which accidentally got a camera and it captured a picture. The question was, to whom copyright should be given? Should it be given to monkey, or should it be given to the person to whom camera belonged? Now, PETA went to court arguing for copyright to be given to this monkey. But when we look at the legal system, our legal system does not permit conferment of intellectual property right on an animal. So these kind of questions are also arising in the context of AI. AI and intellectual property rights, like Dabu's case, where AI is being claimed as an inventor, and in many countries, this patent application has been filed that the patent right, the grant of patents should be given in the name of AI. So these are the questions which have come for the discussion before the different legal systems, and it is posing a challenge to the traditional understanding of the law. Then AI is writing a book. AI is committing a crime, autonomous vehicles, or somewhere robots have been employed if they have committed a wrong. So who? So legal liability would be attributed to whom? So that is a question. There are different thoughts on that. There are different schools of thoughts on that. So one school of thought is that we should have a we should recognize AI as a legal entity like companies, and their legal liability should be fixed in the line of companies. Other school of thought is that no, AI must be given rights at par with natural persons. But in that case, we have to change the whole legal system, because in the existing legal framework, even if the rights have been conferred on AI systems like a monkey or maybe a AI super intelligence system, in what manner those property rights would be exploited if the copyright has been given? So these are some of the questions which are there before the legal systems of different jurisdictions. And in the interest of time, I am not going into detail, but I believe that these are some of the points which must be further explored by the researchers, and to offer a solution to these problems. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Atul, for your wonderful presentation and throwing these thrilling but very complicated issues. You have mentioned about Sophia. I'm reminded that there are certain robotic judges in China, in here in UK also, but they have been assigned a very specific role, particularly for the compensation, calculation of compensation, not all those kind of the cases. And here there's the categories of AI and this super intelligence. Punjab University. She's the Vice Chancellor of Punjab University, and she herself is in this information technology and all these. And in one of these events, somebody asked her, "Can these machines replace a human being?" And her answer was very clear: "No, they cannot." But the I mean, the way the development is taking place. So the future appears to be, I think, bit uncertain with the rapid advancement, we will say, of technologies. We really don't know what kind of a future we'll floor for a few question answer if the students or my colleagues would like to interact. Unmute yourself. Yes, if you have any question, anything, I mean, who's speaking? First of all, can you a bit introduce who's speaking? I'm not able to make out. So you are a student, okay?
I'm not able to hear you properly. Can somebody repeat the question? Can you come closer to the mic? Yeah, please go ahead. So if I could hear you properly, your question is relating to deepfake. Uh, uh, I would say that we are talking about AI, and as I said in my opening remarks, it is not only AI. We are living in a complex technological environment, and here you have AI, which is not working in isolation, which is working in combination. AI is working in combination with big data analytics, working in combination with Internet of Things, working in combination with blockchain technology, as Madam has pointed about. China and certain other country use of humanoid judge. So you would find that they are maintaining the records in blockchain ledger. So we are living in such a complex technological environment, and here when we are talking about regulation of these technologies, and when we are talking about the expertise in these technology, if I have understood your question correctly, so anybody who wants to develop expertise in this area, who wants to understand these things, who wants to use these things, will have to have good knowledge of technology, because knowledge of technology is incidental to understand the law. If you do not understand the technology, you would not be able to understand and appreciate the legal issues associated with it. That is my understanding. Because if I am talking about LLM, if I am talking about NLP, if I am talking about uh, uh, big data analytics, if I am talking about uh, uh, sensors collecting data and processing it, so and I want to talk about privacy, I want to talk about other issues, I have to understand the working of it. For example, I may take a different example which is very much popular: end-to-end encryption in WhatsApp. So if I don't understand what is end-to-end encryption, I cannot criticize the laws which have been prepared, or I may not be able to appreciate the legal issues associated with it. So that is my understanding on the subject. And that's why now the time has come when law and technology must work together, must go together. They cannot live separately. That time is over.
Yes. Thank you. Can we have one more question? Short and the answer also. I'm having a bit constraints here. I'm sorry. Um, so one more question we can have. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question. I think that's part of the question was answered by Professor Atul, was mentioning about who is to be held as responsible, right? Beyond that, what I would like to draw your attention to is the privacy aspect. Uh, when you're using the AI systems, when you're trying to look up for solution to build a case, are you making sure that the information of the accused or of your client is intact? This is something that's fundamentally should be answered, right? If you are able to answer that question, maybe we are able to answer who is liable or who's accountable for these solutions.
Thank you. Um, we can have a quick final round of observations of our these experts. Just a few, I mean, small sentence, not big one, maybe a very, very small. So we can start with Professor Uday.
Yeah, with all these benefits, I would say that we need to consider digital divide into account, and as rightly said, privacy concerns. So any take on AI on legal education must be done in the context of digital divide and privacy. That's very important to look at.
Yes, Professor Atul.
I would say that the more complex the AI model, the more accurate is the result. But this result is reduced to transparency and the of the model, because it would be taking away our huge personal data and would be analyzing to achieve that accuracy. So I think privacy and certain other concerns are there, which has to be looked into, which have to be
Yes,
looked into.
Professor Raja.
Yeah, from my part, I think the technology is changing very, very rapidly, more than what we could imagine a couple of years ago with all the advancements that's happening. But what we are struggling right now is with explaining the solutions to people, explaining how the decision has been made from the model, which brings back to interpretability and explainability while taking care of all the other aspects like accessibility and accuracy and privacy.
Yeah.
That's my take on the system.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think it happened to be a very rich discussion herein. So back home at my university, I would like to thank each one of you who is present there, the students who have been involved, and right from the 11 till here, it must be more than 7 p.m. therein, and I could see registrar is also there, and all my faculty. I could make out few of them. I think here it is Dr. Deepak. I could see Dr. Suchit, and I could hear Prakash. And Sonika and Neha must be there. Why? Because she is briefing me since morning about the competitions which are taking place. And I think Sonika is also there. And let me tell Professor Uday and Atul that our faculty is, we really got a very, very dedicated faculty. And you can see, I mean, before you also, which always keep motivated my students also. And very sensible our registrar. And this is, again, a teamwork which we are trying to do there at our NLP, this NLU Prayagraj. And I really thank you all, our great panelists. Professor Uday Shankar, Professor Atul Pandey, Professor Kiran Raja, and takeaway is very much very clear with us. We have to take care of digital divide, and it's very interesting to listen, Professor Atul. The more complex, the more accurate. The kind of a thing, and emphasis on the solutions. But on the top of it, all our panelists have talked about the privacy issue. And when we talk about the privacy issue, the law naturally comes in, and a lot of jurisprudence we are having, particularly after Puttaswamy, on this privacy. So thank you very much to all of you, and I think we can now conclude it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you very much.
very much. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, everyone.
So we can disconnect. Okay.